So we haven't done anything official in terms of evaluation. I think what we have found, particularly with the exhibition, that we had some tools that we could use. So visitor numbers was something that we could quote, and we put forward for an award. So again, that felt like it was an evaluation of it was for innovation, so that was a really lovely way that we could show the success of it. But I think for me it's more about evaluating the benefits within the business to show how often we're using it, and then feeding that back to the researchers to hopefully show impact in terms of how we're using the findings. And then I guess things like articles, and then just again making sure people are aware of those to show that there's some outcome from some of the research, or additional outcome. And then the only other one I think we had where evaluation was through the dementia research project, where we did a big PR campaign, and the PR team were then able to see how many engagement impacts that had. So we had some statistics for that. They were really pleased with how people engaged with that project, and then also how many places we were picked up through radio, on the TV, and through in the press. So it was a particularly good campaign, but it was really useful for us to have their tools to be able to have some sort of figures to be able to show the impact that we'd had.
It's been very important to be able to demonstrate how valuable the research has been. However, what price can you put on knowledge? It's very difficult to quantify the results of the research. However, it has certainly added new skills. It's helped to develop the professional networks that we're able to work with. It's improved our own personal development plans, which have gone to our line managers. And it has demonstrated to the business that this is a very valuable piece of research, which can be used in a multitude of formats over a long period of time. So it's something which they can dip into now and again whenever that particular topic arrives on their desks as another piece of work to be undertaken.
So for example, we had a project with the University of the Arts London a few years ago, and they, as part of the collaboration, BT Archives and UAL, received an award, and we had been in touch with our communications director and we'd made him aware of what was happening, but it was when he was invited to the prize giving, so we saw that opportunity to invite him, that he then agreed to fund the second round of the project. So I think it just shows how it's important to keep that conversation going and see where there are opportunities and get people involved where you can.
There was always somebody at the desk in the exhibition making a note of how many people came in. We had a guest book where people could leave comments. We had post-its that people could post onto a mirror and leave their thoughts, and we used a few of those. Media appearances were all logged. There's also been another type of impact that's been emerging, which has been the use within the company. So whenever the boards are brought out to show trainees, for instance, or a film is made about the number 7, that's something as well which also gets used as impact.
So my research is part of an impact case study for the Research Excellence Framework, so I have to be able to demonstrate the value of my work, not only for my institution but also eventually for that process. So I've looked to think about things like gathering testimonials from the research users within the business, saying what value they took from the research. I've also thought about when I'm putting materials online, thinking about how many people are reading and commenting on that material. And so I think there's a lot of ways to kind of measure how your research is being received if you think creatively about that. So for me in my project and with the John Lewis Partnership Heritage Centre, what I've really needed is just small pots of money to enable me to have the time to take for the research and for presentations and meetings of various kinds, and to produce the outputs from the research, which have included an academic journal article, but also a response to a letter to the Gazette and other types of formats, including short films. So you can actually do a lot with very small amounts of money. So I think just making sure there are pots of money available for collaborative research. The problem is that sometimes that isn't always recognised as something that history and the humanities do. So make sure that when pots of money are defined and the criteria are being set, that you recognise that business-oriented work, kind of applied work can be done just as much in the humanities as in the sciences and the social sciences. So, if you give us those resources, it will make these kind of collaborations possible.